Hey guys, welcome back to GeekJ, where tech and gaming get geekier and better. So yesterday, Bethesda dropped Oblivion Remastered on Unreal Engine 5, and today we're testing performance on my AMD powered rig. No newest of the new hardware here, just a solid Ryzen 7 5800X 3D, and it's paired with an RX 6800 XT. It's a, let's say, not the highest of the high-end PCs. First, we'll update DLSS, FSR, and XeSS via DLSS Swapper, then benchmark with the built-in presets and modern upscalers. So some of you might ask, why update all three upscalers? So unfortunately, Oblivion Remastered includes old versions of DLSS, FSR, and XeSS. Even on AMD Silicon, updating DLSS matters if you ever want to switch to NVIDIA later, or just because sometimes if you use third-party software, just like we've done before with Upscaler or DLSS Enabler, which uses Upscaler at its core, if you want to use some other input except for FSR, you can do that. So it will actually utilize the DLSS DLL and use those inputs instead of the FSR default inputs to upscale your image. So there is a reason to update the DLSS DLLs as well. So as you can see on my screen, we will run DLSS Swapper, point to our game folder, select the latest DLSS version first, and then just click swap. We're gonna do the same for the frame generation version. We're gonna do the same for FSR. It was using the 3.1 initial version. We updated to 3.1.3, and we're gonna go from the 1.3 version of XeSS to 2.041, I believe. So we are all set. No need for manual DLL hunting in a different place. It's super easy with DLSS Swapper actually. So as you can see on the screen, a brief introduction on the rig. So I am using an AMD Ryzen 7 5800X 3D as my processor. It's not produced anymore, so the prices are going crazy, but the good thing is AMD just released recently, a few months ago I believe, the 5700X 3D, which is like 2 to 3% slower than the 5800X 3D, but it's totally worth it in my opinion because the price is basically unbeatable. For my motherboard, I have an ASUS TUF X570 Plus gaming. I'm using 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, and they are clocked at 3600 mega transfers with a CL16 timing setting, and it's enabled through the motherboard settings. My GPU is an MSI RX 6800 XT Gaming Z Trio, so it's a bit overclocked by factory settings, but I have undervolted it and maybe pushed it a bit further, and it stays on higher clocks for a bit longer depending on the temperatures. I am running my OS on a Samsung 980 Pro 500 gigabyte, and the game is running off of a Crucial P3 1TB SSD, and pretty much this is a mid-gen high-end rig, and it handles modern, let's say, games, and with the help of upscalers, usually amazingly. And mostly, I think that Unreal Engine 5 games benefit the most from upscalers, because probably developers just skip the step of optimization apparently in 2025. So let's see what it can do in the Unreal Engine 5 powered Cyrodiil. Okay, as you can see here, we are basically, I think, on Ultra, and I'm gonna try and get everything maxed out before we load into the game. And I think the defaults are TSR as an anti-aliasing method, and for some reason, even on Ultra, the game defaults in the 87% of the internal resolution, which I just maxed out, and I will always be very wary of that. As you can see while I'm testing this in this initial location, when we go out of the sewers into the city aisle, and hopefully this is going to be interesting. As you can see on the top right, I'm using the in-game FPS counter over there, and we are hovering around 30 FPS, as you can see over here. The average is 35 to 37 FPS, I think. It's not a very playable experience in the open world areas, honestly. Cities and dungeons fare better, but still not the greatest experience. And I think this is heavily because of how Unreal Engine 5 works. And I mean that the open world is obviously going to be a lot more taxing because it needs to render everything, but because of its like a wrapper over the Gamebryo engine of Bethesda, it's kind of following the same let's say strategy. So you will see that when you go into a city or into a dungeon or an NPC's house or whatever interior location, the game will load. So it's only loading that specific location and it doesn't load everything else. So the FPS go way higher, but when we go out in the open world, then the performance basically tanks. So if we have everything maxed out, as I showed you before, and it's the Ultra preset, 100% of the resolution, internal resolution scaling, and the hardware Lumen RT to Ultra, we're getting about 38 to 40 FPS in a very taxing area of the game, even at the very, let's say, first footsteps we take outside in the world of Cyrodiil after we exit the tutorial, in big quotes, dungeon, where we experience the murder or assassination of the Emperor Uriel Septim. I never expected to say that name after 20 years. So I think we're gonna try the high preset over here, and what I'm gonna do is check again the resolution scale. We're gonna go back to 100% over here. We're gonna press F to apply changes. Even if we press escape, the game will actually warn us that this is, you know, not gonna save the settings unless we press confirm, and you can just click on confirm or press F. So we have a bump in performance over here. As you can see, it's around 52, 53 FPS on average, and it's still looking really, really good. And the RT is basically the same. We didn't change that setting. We're gonna go with medium settings, as you can see over here, and I'm going to confirm again up top that the resolution scale is gonna be at 100%, and we're gonna apply those settings. We gained very few FPS, so we are about 62, 63 FPS on average in this area over here. As you can see, because it's using the screen space reflection as an input from the Gamebryo engine, the ray tracing is not that great, so you can see some residual ray traced reflections and shadows and stuff like that. And now we're gonna try the low preset, and as you can see, the RT is still there and it's 50%, but we're gonna max it out to 100% resolution scale, and as you can see, we only gained about 8 to 10 FPS on average. So now our average FPS is around 71 to 72, I believe. The game looks a lot worse. There are a lot of things that are gonna pop. In the distance, we've lost a lot of detail over at the mountains, and it's gonna be a lot more visible over here. As you can see, the bush is not that far away and it completely disappears over here, as you can see, and that is the major drawback of the low preset. And yeah, it affects the grass and everything else, so it's kind of weird. So now we're gonna go back to I think let's say the medium setting, and as you can see, the grass is not popping from that far away. The bush is still there, and if we go to the high preset and again max out the resolution scale to 100% and apply the changes, you can see we have more stuff in the distance. We don't see the popping. The bush obviously is still there, and the grass is visible for a very, very high distance. We have a 100% resolution scale. The FPS is tanked. Obviously, we are again down to the 30s on the Ultra preset, but as you can see, yeah, we're getting basically the best visual fidelity with the Ultra. But if we go down to high, the high preset is not that bad. TSR also, in my opinion, looks better than the built-in TAA and FXAA, but we'll look at that later. We are looking at the low preset of RT over here compared to the Ultra, I think, preset of the hardware RT. So yeah, it still looks pretty good, but this is the Ultra preset, as you can see over here, 100%. And this was the software Lumen on the low preset, and this is the Ultra preset that I am showing you right now. So this is running on software and not on hardware. So let's check the performance over here. It's about the same with the hardware and the software RT, basically. Even if it's hardware RT, we're getting about the same FPS, I believe, once I enable it. So we're gonna go with Lumen hardware RT. We're gonna apply the changes, and I believe we lost about 6 to 7 FPS, so that's pretty substantial, but it does look better, significantly better. we do have, because of the TSR, unfortunately, all the temporal upscalers do a pretty bad job, in my opinion. So we can see a lot of ghosting, even though we don't have any frame generation enabled right now. We do see a lot of ghosting, and I'm gonna show you this with these butterflies flying around. It's pretty bad. So if we go to TAA, let's see how that handles the ghosting and how the performance is. We don't see a lot of massive differences in performance, but there is a bit more simmering when we move the camera around, and there's kind of a noise layer with TAA, unfortunately, and in between the trees there is a lot more simmering, unfortunately. But yeah, it looks worse. I don't know if through the YouTube compression you're going to be able to experience this, but yes, it looks worse. And it does come with FXAA as well, and as you can see, the image becomes very unstable. Even the shadows, the grass, the trees, everything is just shimmering, and it's very immersion breaking. Like, I wouldn't recommend you play in this fashion, especially because we didn't gain any performance. Even if we turn off all anti-aliasing, as you can see, it looks, in my opinion, better than the FXAA did. But yeah, it's kind of weird that this happens. Some of the effects are broken, I believe, because they are tied to the temporal anti-aliasing. Unfortunately, this is what modern development does to games. So yeah, it looks very unstable. So what we are going to do right now is, I think, go back to TSR. As you can see, the image is a lot more stable, and everything is maxed out, but we're gonna go with FSR, and we're gonna test out how the native AA looks, and we're gonna disable the FSR 3 frame generation as well, so we will have an apples to apples comparison. So as you can see here, in my opinion, it looks sharper, and you can see the residual image around the fish is not there, but we do get a little bit of ghosting as well. The fish looks a lot better. It doesn't have that like huge residual image and the ghosting, but the butterflies still suffer from some ghosting, as you can see. Then we're gonna go to quality, and it's a bit, it's looking a bit smoother, not as sharp, and we could mess around with sharpness. Usually people recommend 50 or 70% of sharpness is looking the best, especially with quality from 1080p. So basically now we are upscaling from a 720p image roughly. It's not an exact thing, it's a percentage, but yeah, it looks good, and we have gained some FPS, but nothing too crazy. Instead of 38 around here to 36, we're getting 42 to 47 depending on where we look, and you can see that we do have still that ghosting, even though we don't have any frame generation enabled. I just feel I need to point that out. But yeah, it doesn't look too bad for the 1080p upscaled. It's 720p upscaled to 1080p, so not the best idea, but yeah, it looks okay. Now we're gonna go to lower like settings. We're gonna test the balanced version. We are getting 52 to 55 FPS on average around here, depending on where we look. and in the distance we saw a number above 60, but the game looks a lot worse, and obviously we have a guy here attacking us. So this conjurer thought it was a good idea. I think he wanted to attack the slaughterfish, but yeah, we made sort of work of him over here. Yeah, he is healing himself. He's struggling basically, but yeah, we're gonna get him eventually. As you can see over here, he's done for. Yeah, and obviously we're gonna loot everything he has. As you can see, yeah, he looks kind of soft because of the balanced preset. So I think it's around 640p upscaled to 1080. In the distance, it looks a lot worse, and the fish is starting to look kind of weird. We're gonna go to the performance preset over here. Things are starting to look very, very weird. The ghosting is even more prominent. Not only for the butterflies and stuff, but anything that moves on screen, even when we unsheath and sheath our weapon. As you can see, it's pretty rough, and everything looks pixelated and noisy, even though we do have some sharpness over here. And ultra performance is, holy moly, it looks horrific, and we are not gaining any significant amount of performance over here, as you can see. So I think it's mostly tied to the settings we're gonna use, and yeah, it looks pretty bad. I think it's unplayable. The game, yeah, just looks horrible this way. So I wouldn't suggest you play this way because you're not gaining any performance anyway. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go with native AA again, and as you can see, it kind of halves our performance, but it was around the 60 FPS mark. I think even when we were using balanced. So we're gonna try XeSS AA, which is the native image, but we're using their own implementation of anti-aliasing. I think it's a lot worse than the 3.1.3 FSR, and the built-in version that they had, the 1.3 version, is even worse than this one. It looked a lot worse. So I don't know why, but the ghosting is a lot worse, and they are, I think, kind of lucky because the slaughterfish is not splashing in the water, so we don't see their residual image. But when I was testing it myself, it looked worse. And performance is pretty much the same. We're gonna go with Ultra Quality Plus over here. So we are seeing a benefit, but it doesn't look sharp. It looks pretty bad even on the AA setting, and they don't have a sharpness slider enabled when we are using XeSS. So unfortunately, it's gonna get just smudgier and smudgier the lower we go into the presets of XeSS. So I'm not gonna bore you with testing every setting extensively over here because it looks a lot worse than FSR so far. So yeah, as you can see, we're just gonna run through those settings. We're on the quality settings, so this is basically 720p, and we are seeing kind of a performance boost. I don't think it's 720p, I think it's a lower internal resolution, if I'm being honest, because they have a lot of different presets and they scale them differently in their percentages. But yeah, we're gonna go to balanced. The game is starting to look very, very smudgy, and balanced surprisingly looks okay. It doesn't look very bad, but it's very blurry if you compare it to the FSR implementation over here. It's very blurry. So yeah, even though the jaggies are not that prominent, you can see there is some shimmering there, especially in the trees. And as we go to performance, you will see this is going to be even weirder over here. As you can see, everything is on ultra, and yep, this is like I smeared Vaseline on my screen. It looks very, very bad, and yeah, I don't think it is able to perform really well with these like software upscalers. There's no AI involved, so obviously this isn't great. We're gonna go to ultra performance here, and unfortunately, as you can see, there's no sharpness that we can use, and yeah, it looks even worse. And the performance gains are not that great. Like you can see, it's like 60-ish FPS, and it doesn't matter what we do after you know, a specific number, it's always gonna look that bad. We're gonna go to FSR native, and I am going to show you how I play the game. Basically, as you can see, this is the best experience, I think, visually, but the FPS look pretty low. It's around the 30 FPS mark, and what I am going to do is I'm gonna go with the high preset, and then as you can see, we are using FSR, so the resolution scale, the internal resolution scale is fine, but what I'm gonna do is bump up the distance quality to ultra from high in a second here. I just want to show you how it looks with the high preset. It's not bad, but we're gonna bump it up to ultra in a bit here, but we're gonna enable frame generation first. And as you can see here, we're gonna bump up the distance to ultra. It's gonna take a while to apply the settings. Okay, apply the FSR frame generation, and as you can see, we are up to the 90s now, so it's even more than a double the FPS. You can enable VSync because some people get tearing. I was experiencing tearing because I was recording with OBS, so I don't know why that happens, but whenever I record with OBS, a lot of games, if I don't enable VSync, start tear. So yeah, it's kind of a weird issue, but if you are on borderless window or full screen, it doesn't really make a difference. If you're on Windows 11, you will get the borderless full screen experience anyway, and there is no real need for VSync. But yeah, as you can see, the performance is a lot smoother. There's no significant feeling of lagginess or, you know, latency while you play the game. It's, you know, it's not an online FPS competitive shooter or whatever, and the combat of basically Oblivion or even Skyrim is not that bad. So now, even in the open world, we are around 100 to 150 FPS. It depends where we are, where we look, and the performance is even better than what I'm showing you right now. But recording with OBS in the quality I am recording at is pretty taxing on the system, so it would be even more stable when I actually play the game without recording through OBS. I get a lot more of a stable experience, so I would stay mostly above 100 to 120 FPS in this area without all the ups and downs you see on those numbers over here, and especially in the city it's even more prominent. So the city usually gives me better performance than the outside, but when you go into the city, it's gonna try and render everything as you just saw, and yeah, it's gonna go up and down because I'm recording with OBS, but basically, as you can see, we're getting pretty good experience with around 90 to 100 FPS in most parts. Yeah, this is native AA FSR. We're just using the high preset, and we have maxed out the view distance, the quality of the view distance of the game, so we will probably never experience any pop-ups like bushes and stuff unless it's like very far away in the distance. And the performance is amazing so far. The city is easier to render, so if you're not recording, you will probably get even better FPS with this same hardware, obviously, in the city, if you compare it to the outside. But because I'm recording with OBS, I know I've mentioned it multiple times, you're gonna get better performance than me, just saying, okay? So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I think the game looks really nice. I would say that I would want to see a more substantial benefit from using Upscalers, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. So I think the only benefit I got from Upscalers, especially on 1080p, is that compared to TSR, the FSR native AA, especially after I updated to FSR 3.1.3, it looked a lot better than TSR or TAA or FXAA, as we just demonstrated. And I think that just using frame generation is really a good combo for the Oblivion Remastered so far. It works really well. I would not recommend XeSS. Even in the XeSS AA setting, it's very blurry, unfortunately, and there is no sharpness slider in the game for us to utilize. And if we want to make everything look sharper and crisper, we could force some sharpness through the AMD Adrenaline software, but as you probably all know, it's not the same as a sharpness slider from inside the game engine and the game itself, because it will sharpen everything on top of your image. So that includes, you know, the UI elements and stuff like that, and it can cause artifacting and other problems. So I wouldn't recommend it. It works well in some games. It doesn't work very well on Oblivion, and it's like extra steps, so not a good combo. In general, yeah, FSR looks a lot better than XeSS in this game. So yeah, as you can see, Oblivion Remastered runs beautifully on mid-gen but kind of high-end hardware, and once you update those Upscalers, it looks better too. Even without an Nvidia card, FSR and XeSS give you kind of okay-ish FPS gains, but I would recommend you stick with FSR instead of XeSS in this particular instance. And if you're on 1080p, I would probably go with the native AA option and just enable the frame generation, and you will have a very nice playable experience. So yeah, if this helped, smash that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to never miss another geeky video for more geeky deep dives. I will have links in the description below, as always. I don't know where we put those things there. And if you want more information on how to use DLSS Swapper You can find a video up there, I think, or up there. I don't know. Somewhere. It's gonna be there. Drop your own benchmark results in the comments, and you can also comment with your own hardware setups and what are your results and experience with the game so far. Stay awesome, and I'll catch you later in Cyrodiil on my next video. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Bye-bye.